After the release of Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd's 1975 album, written about the downfall and mental breakdown of ex-band member Syd Barrett, life for the Floyd seemed to be taking a slower pace than before. Over the next year, they would spend more than half of it writing, recording, and mixing one of their most underrated albums ever. Another seamless concept album from the mind of Roger Waters, Animals is a socio-political album fueled by a hatred of capitalism and the decay of society and government. Today, we're going to take a look at it.
If you didn't care.
I think, out of the entire Pink Floyd Month series, this video will be my most sentimental. Ever since I first discovered Floyd back in 2015, there has been one album I've always kept close to my side. That album is the 1977 concept-driven masterpiece, Animals. Spawned from the mind of Roger Waters, quite possibly one of the biggest visionaries in modern music history, the album itself is 5 tracks in length and follows a concept derived from George Orwell's famous novel, Animal Farm. Associated with these themes of comparing modern society to that of one following an animalistic food chain in which the pigs are the leaders, the dogs are the businessmen, and the sheep are the lower class citizens, Waters also used this record as an attack on capitalism. Now, before I continue, I have to say something here. When comparing myself to Waters' political views, I contrast everything he believes in and puts out on this record. I've always had somewhat of a distaste for when musicians make their albums politically charged, and admittedly it makes things a little challenging when I myself tend to lead towards conservative values. However, I typically make exceptions if the music is so good that I can overlook it. For the record, 99% of the time I've listened to a politically charged album, I've overlooked the existing values and overtones of the music. I suppose you can just let that speak for itself. Besides all that, Animals was my introduction to Floyd as a whole. No, I'm not meaning introduction to long tracks, I mean introduction in general. This is the very first album I ever listened to by Pink Floyd. And if you're a fellow fan, I'm sure you've got wide eyes at this point because, well, let's be real. This is one of their least accessible albums probably in their entire discography. This is on the ranks with Adam Her Mother and Ummagumma, alright? This is not one that I would recommend to a starting fan. It's 5 tracks and 42 minutes long, which means that's about an average of 8.5 minutes per song. We have to take into account, though, Pink Floyd is a progressive rock band. They're renowned, remembered, and acclaimed for their sprawling and shifting progressive rock tracks. And on this album, we have 2 of them. However, before we do that, we need to break the album down from the beginning. So, with that, let's begin. Pigs on the Wing Part 1 is an acoustic piece which opens the album, performed and written entirely by Roger, meant as a romantic love song for him and his wife at the time. Pigs on the Wing Part 2 was paired with the first part on the 8-track version of Animals, segued by a glistening guitar solo performed by sessions and touring guitarist Snowy White. I'll play the clip of the bridging guitar solo, since it's extremely rare. Dogs, the second track on the album, was the beginning of my love for Floyd. A 17-minute long epic, opened by an acoustic riff performed by Gilmour, tells a short story about the wealthy businessmen, the dogs, of the society this album's concept is based in. It talks about how quickly they'll go to backstab you, but how their lives will end in misery after how empty they've made their existences. Looking back on the bleak concept of Animals as a whole, Dogs is one of the darkest yet most incredible songs Floyd has ever composed, and it's certainly one of my all-time favorites.
So have a good time as you go down all alone, dragged down by the stone.
Pig's 3 different ones is Waters' attack on higher political officials. More specifically, people like Margaret Thatcher and Mary Whitehouse, the latter of whom was confirmed to be mentioned in the song by Waters in '92, and she is mentioned by last name in verse 3, I believe. I believe it's verse 3. The song itself is 11 minutes long and features some pretty neat experimentation from Gilmour as well as the rest of the band, including the first use of the talk box by Pink Floyd during the middle solo.
You radiate cold shafts of broken glass.
The final real song on the album, and the final one that has to do with an actual concept, Sheep, is exactly what you think it'd be at this point. This track is used to represent the lower class individuals that Waters considers him and his fellow citizens to be a part of, who rises up at the end of the track and viciously attack and murder the dogs before retiring to their homes. The song closes out with quite possibly my favorite jam by any band ever. Just take a listen, quick listen to this little snippet here. As Sheep reaches its ultimate end, Pigs on the Wing Part 2 begins on the CD and vinyl editions of the album. Continuing where the first part left off, this song is once again used as a love song went from Waters to his wife. Both tracks perfectly bookend the album, and with one final strum of a guitar, Animals has concluded. Overall, to this day, Animals is one of Pink Floyd's strongest and fiercest albums, and continues to paint a picture of the modern political climate, regardless of whichever side you fall on. With that, I give Pink Floyd's Animals a 10 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I do want to apologize for this video being a few days late, as I have been extremely busy recently. However, my final Pink Floyd month video will be uploaded by or on April 30th, as I previously planned. I also want to apologize for this video being a little shorter than usual. I understand these videos have been more or less very small and a little disorganized compared to a couple of my other early reviews. And I will be changing that up a little soon because I have albums that I'm going to be doing bigger, better analyses on. However, these are not meant to be really in-depth reviews. They're supposed to be short videos to once per week to give my feelings and opinion on one Pink Floyd album per week. And as of the 30th, we'll be done with that entirely. So we'll move on back to the regular reviews after that. However, I ask you guys to keep your eyes peeled for the next review, for the next video. Keep being awesome, and I will see you guys later. Take care.